Hi, it's great to have you back. We're looking at the organisation topic, and today we're going to look at the heart, the blood. As always, the video will have tips, linking words and exam questions. Make sure to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Heart is known as a double pump because it has a right side which pumps the blood to the lungs, and it also has a left side. The left side pumps the blood to the body. For this reason, it is known as the double pump. Now let's look at the labels of the heart and how this blood is pumped to the lungs and the body. If we imagine the heart to look like this, we can divide the heart into 4 different sections. The top is the atriums, and the sections at the bottom are the ventricles. We have the right side here and we have the left side here. So this will be the right atrium and this will be the left atrium. This will be the right ventricle and this will be the left ventricle. Now let's look at a more complex diagram. If we look at the 4 chambers, we have a chamber here, we have a chamber here, we have a chamber here, and we have a chamber here, which represent these chambers on this side. So this chamber here would be the right atrium. This will then be the left atrium, yeah, would be the bottom chamber, and the one opposite would be the left ventricle. Now let's look at blood vessels which take the blood into the heart and away from the heart. So we have vena cava, we have pulmonary artery, we have aorta, and we have pulmonary vein. This one here would be a vein. The other one would be the vena cava. An easy way to remember it is to remember that vena cava starts with a V, so it must be a vein. Now let's look at which one might be the arteries. So we have the pulmonary artery. This one starts with an A, so this one is also an artery. Next step is to look at how the blood comes in. Veins bring the blood to the heart, so it would come in through the vena cava on the right side. It would pass into the right atrium, then would pass into the right ventricle and go out of the right side of the heart through the pulmonary artery. Once it goes out of the artery, it will go into the lungs, and this is the deoxygenated blood. And you can see this represented as blue here. Deoxygenated means that it doesn't have any oxygen in it. The deoxygenated blood goes into the lungs, collects the oxygen. Once it collects the oxygen, it is now oxygenated blood, and remember, it goes to the heart through the vein. So it comes in through the pulmonary vein, into the left atrium, down into the left ventricle, and out of an artery, and the artery it goes out of is the aorta. Goes out of the aorta into the body, and this blood going into the body is oxygenated. In the body, it will give the cells the oxygen. The cells will use the oxygen and then become deoxygenated, and that blood goes back into the vena cava and the cycle starts again. This blood going in is now deoxygenated because it has lost its oxygen. This deoxygenated will go round in the cycle to the lungs again to collect more oxygen. Well, let's recap that. On the right side, to the heart, it comes in the vena cava. Away from the heart, it goes away by the pulmonary artery. On the left side, it comes to the heart through the pulmonary vein, and it goes away from the heart through the aorta. This brings us to the last section, exam questions. Question 1. Below is a diagram of the heart. On the diagram, name the parts labelled A, B, C and D. This is worth 4 marks. Let's have a look at the different sections on the heart first. So here we have the atriums, we have at the bottom the ventricles. Next, let's identify the sides. This is the right side and this is the left side. Next, let's think about the veins and the arteries on the right side. So the vein in the right side is the vena cava and the artery on the right side is the pulmonary artery. Let's do the same for the left side. So the vein on the left side is the pulmonary vein and the artery on the left side is the aorta. Now let's look at these labels. So if on the right side, the blood will flow in through here, come down in from the atrium and the ventricle and flow out through there. On the left side, the blood would flow through in here, through the atrium, up through the ventricle and out away from the heart. Now it's time to use all this information to label A, B, C and D. So first of all, A is pointing to where the blood is going out away from the heart. So from the left side, where does it go away from? It goes away from the aorta. So this must be our aorta. B is pointing to the bottom chamber. So we have 4 chambers. The top ones are the atriums, the bottom ones are the ventricles. So this must be the ventricle. For C, it's pointing to the top chamber. So these are the atrium. And D is pointing to where the blood is going into the heart. So blood going to the heart is through the vena cava. Question 2. The heart is known as a double pump. Describe why. And this is worth 1 mark. Think back to what the double pump means. It has 2 parts to it. It has the right side of the heart, which takes the blood to the lungs. It has the left side of the heart, which takes the blood to the body. For our answer, we can say right side of the heart takes the blood to the lungs, and the left side of the heart takes the blood to the body. The word I want to look at today is the heart. When you think of the heart, you should think of the double pump. When you think of the double pump, you should think of deoxygenated blood and oxygenated blood. When you think of deoxygenated blood, you should think of the vena cava. When you think of the vena cava, you should think of the right atrium and the right ventricle. When you think of the right ventricle, you should be thinking of the pulmonary artery. When you think of the pulmonary artery, that should lead you to think about the lungs. Once you think about the lungs, that should lead you to oxygenated blood. When you think about oxygenated blood, you should think about the pulmonary vein. Once you think about the pulmonary vein, you should automatically start to think about the left atrium and the left ventricle. The left ventricle would lead you to think about the aorta, and the aorta would lead you to think about the body. The body would lead you to think about the cells. Once you think about the cells, you would start thinking about respiration. And once you think about respiration, that would lead you to think about energy. I'm sure you can continue this trail of linking words. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel.